Good evening, good day. Hope everybody's having a great Wednesday. Welcome to another episode of Talking Packers with Steve here on Wednesday, December 23rd, 2015. The untitled, Eve of Eves. Christmas Eve tomorrow. Today will be Christmas Eve. But, anyways, with that being said, this being the holiday episode, I will be talking about the Packers and the victory, upcoming matchup, as I always do, all the games for Week 16. After this episode, I'll be scurrying over to Main Event Marks, where we will be having a special episode, holiday episode there. We'll be having nominations and everything for our Mark Awards for Main Event Marks. That in the Marks group, people will be able to vote. So that's definitely for if you are also a professional wrestling fan, a WWE fan, definitely check out their content and our content there. And sometimes it's hard for me calling it, either their content, our content, because I am part of it, and now I am, excuse me, I apologize, regular over there for that show. So I will be doing that. We will be starting at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern here on YouTube on their channel, Main Event Marks. Same name as the show. But here, talking Packers with Steve, I wanted to go over. There we go. I'll go over past week and then upcoming week here, week 16. 2 weeks left, the home stretch of the NFL season, so to speak. It kind of sucks, but it is what it is. I mean, excuse me. But the biggest thing to talk about being the Odell Beckham Jr. situation um, with Josh Norman. Uh, I guess what I wanted to say with my opinion on that. First off, the referees should have done something. Should have kicked them both out after the first interaction. Let's just say with those two. Um, if anything, with that first interaction being instigated by Josh Norman, then Josh Norman should have been the one to be booed. Like, I just think that should have been the first thing that happened. That Josh Norman should have been punished first, even before anything with Odell Beckham. And I just think that with that moment and how that whole interaction started with that first interaction and that being instigated by Josh Norman, in my humble opinion, I think at that point he should have just been kicked out or flagged, at the very least flagged. Maybe kicked out, maybe in that moment might have been a little extreme, but you knew what he was trying to do. In the end, he succeeded, but still, I just, I don't know. Hmm. Hmm. Just reading something here about that. It looks like the person from New York, either bringing or from whatever the headset situation with the referees during that game to let the referees know that they would be able to, that they had the authority, so to speak, to kick players out. They just didn't. But like I said, the way it was instigated, it being kind of Josh Norman's fault, I thought he should have been the one in the most trouble at that point. But then afterwards, and what Odell Beckham Jr. did, and everything was uncalled for as well. And I can understand there's 1 game suspension situation, but you know you just can't let Josh Norman get out of the woods. I mean, he seemed like he was being a bully there in that situation, especially for when he did first. He knew what he was doing. He knew what his intention of doing that was to get under Odell's skin, and it worked. And Odell wasn't say he wasn't grown enough to not let it affect him as much as it did. It's just it's in its simplest form, it's more like playground playground bullying situation to a higher degree, meaning that the simplistic of what actually happened and the reason and the um, implied intention of Josh Norman and everything, it just seemed like he was trying to make Odell look like a punk. Really, I mean, just to put it simply. So I'm I'm a little more upset that Josh Norman isn't getting more of a flack for this than Odell. Why is it always the second person? Why is it the other one that's the reactionary or trying to defend himself later on? Because he knows if he doesn't do anything, Josh Norman he's just gonna keep doing stuff all game long. And as much as it's good to be throwing the trigger, at some point, you hit that threshold where you had enough is enough, and he did. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not condoning what Odell did. I'm not saying it was right, but I'm just saying for any situation in the NFL where most penalties that are called in situations like this in fights are scuffs, as they call it, I guess, whatever. That's always the second person, the secondary, the reactionary, not the actual instigator. So to me, if Odell Beckham is going to be suspended one game, then the Carolina player should be suspended one game. Josh Norman, I believe his name is again. They both should be sitting out their next games. And like I said, that's my opinion. I'm sure Carolina Panther fans, like my friend Big Q of TMY TV, would strongly disagree with me there, and I respect that because that's his opinion. That's his right. But like I said, my opinion is that Josh Norman should be suspended. Because if you're going to suspend one in the altercation, you should suspend the other instead of altercation. You just can't have it. You know what I mean. You just can't do it that way. You just can't. Because it makes the NFL look weak. It looks like actually, to quite honest, it makes the NFL look stupid because they're going to be penalizing Odell Beckham Jr., but they're not going to be penalizing Josh Norman at all, even though he was the one that seemed like he was instigating the fight or battle or whatever they're going to have all game long. And I know this stuff happens always in football. There's always things said under the breath to each other, cornerbacks and wide receivers or defensive ends and linemen, whatever, during a game. I know it's part of the game, but what happened during that game was not part of the game by either of them. Josh or Odell. So, like I said, one should spend, Odell shouldn't be able to play in this game against the Vikings. Josh should be able to play against their game against the Falcons. Panthers are going to beat the Falcons anyways. They don't need Josh Norman to kick the Panthers. What? I mean, to the Falcons, what? So I apologize. The Panthers are going to kick the Falcons, what? In Atlanta. It's just going to happen. They're going to stay undefeated. And then they're probably going to win Week 17 and have a perfect regular season. And we'll see how they do in the playoffs, where it actually counts. Then we'll truly see what the Panthers are made of. But I said you either suspend them both, you either fine them both, or you do nothing to neither of them. But I'm sure Panther fans are going to strongly disagree with that. And maybe even some Giants fans might even disagree with that. And hey, I know people that are Giants fans, good friends of mine, Mike Colon and Angry Cougar of Main Event Marks. They're Giants fans. I don't know if they would agree or disagree with my stance on this, but again, that's my stance on it. Now, I could be more, let's just say, energetic in the way that I'm upset. I could be cursing up a storm in my thoughts, which I actually was when I first found out about the suspension of Odell Beckham Jr. Trust me, I was cursing at my TV when that breaking news on SportsCenter happened. And I'm not even a Giants fan. I'm a Packers fan, obviously, a Packers shareholder. I represent my team, the Green Bay Packers. But, so even seeing on the outside, just upset me. Oh, it's been days, and plus I like to be professional on my shows, but try to show a little bit more of an attitude or of actual intensity. Because I always have integrity and intelligence, but intensity I might lack when I'm sharing my opinions. But in that situation, obviously that was not on camera. It was just me. But I just didn't, like I said, I don't think it's right. If you're going to suspend one, you should suspend the other. It's kind of like the situation with the Bengals and the Steelers. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago? I don't remember, but there was a situation there with a back and forth thread on Twitter, a Twitter war battle, and the NFL knew about it but didn't do anything about it, and then they had an altercation before the game, and you wonder why these things happen, and the NFL doesn't do anything. They turn cheek. Why? Because not one of their main players, so they don't give a what if it if it's not happening to, like, let's say an Aaron Rodgers of the Packers, or against J.J. Watt, or some of the high profile players in the NFL, or the Golden Boy Tom Brady. If it's not happening to them, they don't give any F's. It just seems like they don't. They should. Because they're the National Football League. They always tout and say that every player matters, everything matters. They take everything to the highest importance, and blah 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 blah, and all the other stuff that they talk. That's all it is talk sometimes, in my opinion. At least in that aspect of what they talk about, because it seems like they don't care about every little thing, that they don't manage when they need to manage. And sometimes they get into situations and manage when they don't need to. When they don't need to stick their nose in that business. So, but, it's just, and the referees, now we had, with the whole situation of a catch, what's a catch, what's not a catch, what, bad calls during games, calls that mess up games, and the outcomes of the games. The referees are really out in front of the NFL and in headlines this season, and not for a good reason, for a bad, for what they're not doing, what they should be doing, what things are. Heck, it's gotten so bad, or at least it seems like it's gotten so bad with referees and the judgment calls and everything. And I know it's a hard job. I know it's one of those things people can say, "Oh, Steve, you don't know how it is." You know, um, walk them out in their shoes, and then maybe you'll understand how hard it really is. Okay, I get it. I I respect that. I respect everybody who has a job in the NFL. Um, from equipment managers to a team to obviously the players themselves, coaches, and the referees. I mean, it's a fast-moving game. I mean, heck, I was there Thursday night, or not Thursday night, but Thanksgiving Thursday night for when my Packers played the Bears, and then the Brett Favre halftime ceremony stuff. And when you see it live, it's a lot different than seeing it on TV. Okay, but so I respect that, but it's still their job. They were trained to do it. They had countless months of training or classes or whatever they had to do even before they got to step out on the field to referee a game. Or they started from college or high school, and they went up the ranks, kind of like how a player goes up the ranks for playing in high school, college, and then the NFL. Well, for referees, I would assume, I don't know, but assume that maybe that's how they get the way they get as well, from refereeing college games or high school games to college games, and then getting a chance or call from the NFL to referee NFL games. Okay? And they make their mark, and they go from there. Do their jobs. That's all I ask referees to do. Do your gosh darn job to the best of your ability. Yes, you're going to make mistakes. We are all human. That is true. That is dang true. But it seems like it's just gotten out of hand, and over the head of the NFL of what's going on there in the referee. But at least they're trying to be proactionary with what they're going to be doing in the postseason, because gosh darn well, whether it's in a game with my Packers, me as a Packer fan, or let's say the Jets sneak in, Alberta main event marks New York Jets. Let's say something happens in the Jets' first round wild card game against whoever, whatever, and it cost the Jets the game, and it's a call that shouldn't have been called, like a touchdown catch that was called a touchdown that shouldn't have been, or something like that. I don't know, something to that effect. Okay, then there's really going to be upset fans, not just of the fan base of that team, but of all the NFL fans, because they all understand what that team would be going through at that point. So what they're going to try to do is have the headsets for the referees that they get to wear, and be able to have the people in New York. I have one, one guy there in New York be able to communicate with the referees in the playoff games. And since the playoff games, being minute each week and having one game for one time slot, it's not like during the regular season where you have 8 to 10 games, or let's just say 6 to 8 games in the noontime slot, and whatever, trying to handle it if they were doing this in the regular season. It's different in the postseason or preseason if they wanted to test it out first, with each game being its own primetime game, in the playoffs. So they can make sure they get calls right. They can make sure to maybe check up on a rule, like rules that maybe they forgot they even have in their rule books. I'm sure the rule book is pretty big, of all little intricate rules and the subsections of rules and all this other stuff as well. So they're trying to be professional, but it's just, I don't know. But back on the topic, Odell's going to be suspended for a game. Josh Norman should be suspended for a game. The fact that did not happen, I'm not too happy about. But obviously, as a fan, I just have to move on and focus on my Packers and our big matchup we have against the Arizona Cardinals. That's going to show me, as a Packer fan, if my team actually has the cojones and the manpower, so to speak, on our roster to actually play with the big boys of the NFC and not just rely on, we have Aaron Rodgers, who we're always going to be fine. I mean, no. I mean, he's a great quarterback. Heck yes. And we are America's team, in my opinion. But we can't always just rely on that, because even Aaron Rodgers, has off days. Okay? But you can't have them when you're against an NFC teams like we have here. I don't know. Sometimes I just don't get it. I don't know. I mean, obviously, fellow Packer fans, you're awesome and all this other stuff, but we rely too much on just saying, because we have Aaron, we're going to be fine all the time. That's just not the case. I wish it was the case, but it's not. We got to go out and prove it. We got to play with the players that we have on the field. And Aaron Rodgers, he doesn't play defense, so last time I checked. So we're gonna have to prove it on defense against the great Arizona Cardinals offensive team and the juggernaut rookie running back, to make sure we can actually stay. So that'll be a big test for us. And hopefully we can pass that with flying colors. I mean, like I said, it'll certainly be But yeah, shortly here I'm going to be going over my picks for Week 16, since the guest I was supposed to have today to talk about the Raiders game. At least right now, I was unable to make it. I give him a little bit more time to see if he can, but Not much else really to talk about from week 15 from what I can see. Hmm. Anyways, sorry about that silence there. I was just trying to reach out to my guest and see if he would be able to make it here while I was live. Definitely hope others will be able to make it as well. Um, well, also, to be quite honest, Big Q of Team by TV would have been nice to have on here for him to share his thoughts. Josh Norman and Odell Beckham Jr. He did have an episode of his podcast, or the Black and Blue podcast on his channel, Team Boy TV Live, or just Team Boy TV, Team Boyd TV on YouTube. His channel is also on the right hand side when you go to my main page in my channel. Because I was hoping to be on one of his episodes of Team Boy TV Live with him, Glass, will get with sports, and JB. But I don't think they've been having episodes the last couple of weeks. Probably taking a big break for the holiday season. But anyways, he did an episode of his Panthers podcast, Black Blue podcast, last night talking about the situation and everything, his opinion. But it kind of would have been nice to have him here on my show to talk the same. Because I'm sure he would still have those strong feelings as he did last night about it. Because he's going to defend his team, defend the Panthers. Just as much as I defend the Packers in situations. But not all the time. I mean, there's times when our players mess up, then they mess up. But I don't know, it surprised me that Josh Norman wasn't going to be in trouble for what his role part of it as well. But anyways, I'm just going to go through the Week 16 picks right now, and if anybody jumps in, then we'll steer the conversation from there. Chargers at Oakland Raiders on Thursday Night Football on NFL Network. I have the Raiders. Mikey Raider of Raider Central. His Raiders. I'm going to have the Raiders over the Chargers, 24-10. Too bad it doesn't mean anything anymore, but the Raiders have improved this season, just like Jacksonville Jaguars. If they would have gotten a freaking touchdown they were supposed to there near the end of the game, they could have beaten the Falcons and still been in a good chance to win that division. And then we got Washington versus the Eagles. Thursday Night Football also on the NFL Network. Redskins can clinch the division and finish off the Eagles, Giants, and Cowboys, I guess, in a way, and be the NFC East champions. I am going to go, actually, the Redskins over the Eagles. 27-21. Redskins over Eagles and win that division. The New England, Joe of the Joe Cronin Show, his New England Patriots against Albert of Main Event Marks. Mark his New York Jets in New England, or no, at New York. I'm going to go with the Patriots over the Jets, 24-10. I'm sorry, I just don't see the Jets winning. I still see the Jets getting in the playoffs. I see the Jets and the Steelers, and Jets and the Chiefs, because the Chiefs are rolling. They started 1-4 and haven't lost since. Andy Reid doing some great things there in Kansas City, but so I see the Jets and Chiefs getting those wild card spots in the AFC. But in this game, I'm going to go Patriots over the Jets. Excuse me, Houston Texans versus the Tennessee Titans. I'm going to go Texans over Titans, 17-13. Cleveland Browns against the Chiefs again. The Chiefs, team that's rolling right now. I'm going to go the Chiefs over the Browns, 35-17. Colts at Dolphins. I'm going to go the Colts over the Dolphins. Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna go with the Colts over the Dolphins. Me of Main Remarks. Go with his Colts over the Dolphins. Yeah, I'm actually gonna go like 35-24. Colts over Dolphins. 49ers, Lions. Got Lions over the 49ers, 17-10. I think with the Lions winning streak here and trying to end on a good note, they're actually going to be able to keep or save their coach's job. So I know a lot of people there in Detroit were worried about that. I wonder if he'd be able to. But I think if they're able to beat San Francisco and win next week as well, finish on a 3-game winning streak, that definitely will help in trying to save that job. Dallas against Buffalo. I'm gonna go with the Bills over the Cowboys. 24-10. Bears Buccaneers. I'm gonna go the Buccaneers over the Bears. 24-17. Panthers Falcons. I'm gonna go Panthers over the Falcons. 45-17. Steelers Ravens. I'm Steelers over the Ravens. 24-13. Jaguars Saints. Saints over the Jaguars. 24-21. Rams Seahawks. I'm gonna go Seahawks over the Rams. 35-24. Giants Vikings. This one football on NBC. I'm gonna go the Vikings over the Giants, over Michael Owen and New York Giants, 24-17. And then the Bengals and the Broncos probably be game of the week for me, in my opinion. Both technically playing with backup quarterbacks against each other, not Andy Dalton versus Peyton Manning, but still going to be a good matchup. But I'm going to go with the Broncos over the Bengals, since this is their home game. 45-38. And then the Packers Cardinals, like the last game, like I said, is proving ground for us Packers. See where we match up with the best of the NFC. I'm gonna go with the Packers over the Arizona Cardinals. Gonna stay with my Packers. Get that win in Arizona. It wouldn't be an upset. Not my opinion. But I'm gonna go with the Packers over the Arizona Cardinals. 35-24. Green Bay Packers over the Arizona Cardinals. I just think that we can get the job done, and we'll surely see if that is that indeed is the case. I know it's gonna be a tough task. It's Arizona; they're a good team, but with that said, I guess I'm done with the episode. Everybody has a great holiday weekend. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas to celebrate, and enjoy the weekend. Another great weekend of NFL. We only have two of these left, so week 16, week 17, and then we ride into the playoffs. So that'll be cool. But as always, take care.